This is Eric Siegel, co-founder and CEO of Gooder AI, and in this video, I'm going to demo the Gooder AI chatbot, which serves as a thought partner and copilot for predictive AI projects and helps business stakeholders understand everything. So we're looking at the profit curve for a predictive AI project, specifically comparing 3 models for targeting marketing. But I'll let the chatbot explain everything. By the way, we're adding the AI voice just to this demo video. The product doesn't have narration yet. Okay, so I right-clicked and now I select Ask Gooder Chatbot.
The chart displays 3 profit curves representing the forecasted profits for 3 different predictive models across varying percentages of customers contacted. With a given parameter settings, Model 1 achieves the highest peak profit around 25% of customers contacted, while Model 3 has the lowest profit potential. The curves provide visibility into the trade-offs between contacting more customers and diminishing profit returns.
All right, but what's the point? What's the purpose?
The purpose of this profit curve chart is to help determine the optimal percentage of customers to contact for a targeted marketing campaign by visualizing the trade-off between the number of customers reached and the expected profit for each predictive model.
Okay, and why is the curve shaped that way? Why does it go up then down instead of continuing up?
The profit curve goes up and then down because there are competing factors at play. As more customers are contacted, the potential for profit increases initially. However, beyond a certain point, the additional cost of contacting more customers outweighs the marginal revenue from new responses, causing profits to decline. This shape reflects the balance between maximizing responses while limiting excessive contact costs.
But why does the cost outweigh as you go to the right?
The profit curves decline towards the right side because as the percentage of customers contacted increases, the marginal cost of contacting additional customers eventually exceeds the marginal revenue from new responses. This is due to the models prioritizing and contacting the most likely responders first. As you move further to the right on the curve and contact a higher percentage, you are reaching less and less likely responders. So the incremental revenue diminishes while the contact costs continue accumulating for each additional customer contacted.
Okay, well, let's make that even clearer. Explain that for a 10-year-old using a story.
Let's imagine you have a lemonade stand, and you want to make as much money as possible. You have a special machine that can predict which kids walking by are most likely to buy your lemonade. At first, you use the machine to call out to the kids it says are really likely to want lemonade. Since these kids really want lemonade, most of them buy from you and you make good money. But as you keep calling out to more and more kids, eventually you start calling kids who don't want lemonade that much. Some of them buy, but many don't. And for every kid you call out to, you have to use your allowance money to make the lemonade. So while you make some money from the kids who do buy, you're also spending money on lemonade for kids who don't buy. At some point, you've called to so many kids that you're spending more of your allowance making lemonade than you're making from the sales. That's when the profit curve starts going down. You're losing money by calling to too many kids.
Well, when I did lemonade stands, it was mostly adults that were my customers. Anyway, what about this part of the interface, these sliders? What are the sliders for?
The sliders allow you to change the parameter values that affect the profit calculations and shape of the curves. By adjusting the sliders for profit per response, cost of contact, and population size, you can interactively see how the profit curves change in real time. This interactive visualization helps you understand the sensitivity of the profit forecasts to different business assumptions and find the optimal settings for your specific scenario.
Okay, yeah, profit per response or changing cost of contact. Yeah, that changes the calculation of profit, changes the shape of the curve. Well, let's, cost of contact was 10. Let's change it to 5. Leave it at that change and ask about that. I just changed one. What effect did that have? And what could you imagine would warrant that particular change?
Based on the updated chart, it appears you decrease the cost of contact from $10 to $5. This change has caused the profit curves for all three models to shift upwards, indicating higher potential profits across most percentages of customers contacted. Lowering the cost of contacting each customer reduces the overall campaign expenses, allowing more of the revenue from responses to translate into profits. This type of change could be warranted if the marketing channel became more cost-effective, such as switching from direct mail to a less expensive digital channel. With lower contact costs, the models can profitably reach a wider range of customers.
Okay, taking a step back, tell me about this product.
Gooder AI is a software product that provides a business user console for predictive analytics and machine learning projects. Its key purpose is to help organizations evaluate their predictive models, not just evaluate them technically, but assess their business value in terms of metrics like profit, revenue, and cost savings. The interactive profit curve charts allow users to visualize the trade-offs between contacting more customers and diminishing profit returns for different model deployment scenarios. By adjusting parameters like contact costs and response values, business stakeholders can interactively explore the potential business impact and optimal deployment strategy. This bridges the gap between data science and business decision-making, enabling machine learning initiatives to be driven by business value rather than just model accuracy metrics.
Okay, so then what's the difference between valuation and evaluation?
Evaluation and valuation are two distinct concepts when it comes to assessing machine learning models. Evaluation refers to measuring a model's technical performance using metrics like accuracy, precision, recall, F1 score, etc. This is typically done by data scientists during model training and selection to understand how well the model is performing on test data. Valuation, on the other hand, refers to measuring a model's business performance and value, using metrics that matter to the business, such as profit, revenue, cost savings, etc. Valuation takes into account the actual business impact and return on investment when the model is deployed in a real-world scenario. The key difference is that evaluation focuses solely on the model's predictive capabilities from a data perspective, while valuation considers the model's ability to drive tangible business value and return on investment when operationalized. Gooder AI's unique value proposition is providing visibility into this business valuation aspect for machine learning initiatives.
Okay, let's go under the hood a little. How is the profit calculated?
The profit is calculated using a simple formula that takes into account the number of customers contacted, the cost of contacting each customer, the number of customers who respond, and the profit earned per response. Specifically, profit equals number of customers contacted times cost of contact plus number of responses times profit per response. The number of customers contacted is determined by the percentage selected on the horizontal axis and the total population size specified. The number of responses is calculated based on the actual responses observed in the test set data for the customers that would be contacted at that percentage. The cost of contact and profit per response values are parameters that the user can adjust using sliders. The final profit value is scaled based on the specified total population size to provide an estimate of the overall profit if the model was deployed across that entire population. So in essence, it's calculating the campaign costs versus revenues to arrive at a net profit forecast for that specific model deployment scenario.
I should mention those calculations are configurable for each project. Okay, what about this part of the interface, this vertical line, the decision threshold? Where should I move the decision threshold?
To determine where to set the decision threshold, you should consider the following factors based on the profit curve visualization. Identify the peak of each model's profit curve. This represents the percentage that maximizes profit for that particular model. Compare the maximum profit values across the different models to see which one delivers the highest potential profit. However, don't just optimize for peak profit. Also consider the range of percentages that provide an acceptable level of profit based on your goals and constraints. Look at the shape of the curves. A flatter curve around the peak may indicate a wider range of viable decision thresholds, while a sharper peak suggests being more precise in your threshold selection. Factor in any additional business criteria like marketing budget limitations or minimum expected profit targets. The optimal decision threshold balances maximizing profit while operating within your business's risk tolerance and real-world constraints. The interactive visualization allows you to explore these trade-offs visually before making a final threshold decision.
Okay, well, let's try moving it somewhere. How about here? How about if I move it here?
Moving the decision threshold to contact around 82% of customers would likely result in significantly diminished profits compared to the peak areas of the curves. At such a high percentage contacted, you're reaching far into the long tails of less likely responders for all three models. The incremental revenue from those additional responses is outweighed by the high contact costs incurred from such a broad campaign. Unless you have an extremely compelling reason to maximize total responses regardless of cost, I would not recommend setting the threshold that high. The profit curves indicate much more optimal operating points exist at lower percentages in the 20 to 40% range for maximizing overall profitability with these models and parameter settings. Contacting over 80% seems inadvisable based on the steep downward slopes of the profit curves in that region.
All right, and which way should I move it to target more precisely?
To target more precisely with the decision threshold, you should move it towards the left on the chart, contacting a lower percentage of customers. Moving the threshold to the left narrows your targeting to only the customers with the highest predicted response probabilities from the models. This allows you to be more selective and focus your marketing efforts and budget on the most likely responders. The trade-off is that contacting fewer customers reduces your potential total responses and revenue, but also minimizes costs. The narrower targeting increases your average profit per customer contacted. Look for the steep upward sections of the profit curves towards the left side. This region represents the sweet spot of balancing high predicted response rates with reasonable reach. Positioning the decision threshold here allows precise targeting of your top prospects while still maintaining acceptable overall profits. However, move the threshold too far left and you'll miss out on marginal profits from good, but not top-tier prospects. Finding the optimal point requires balancing precision of targeting against your volume and profit goals. But in general, moving the decision threshold to the left focuses your efforts more narrowly on your highest value prospects.
All right, that's it for now. If you found this interesting, hit like and subscribe. Reach out to us with any questions, or if you'd like to give Gooder a spin on your predictive AI projects, or feel free to ask any questions in the YouTube comments here and we'll answer them. For a more detailed overview and demos on a few other models, follow the link in the description of this video.